Okay, guys, look, I know I've been craving this longer preseason for a while here because we've finally got Group C and Auckland City are in Group B. Praise the Lord. But there is a bit of an issue. One of the guys who wants to take over the club wants to sack me as manager if he gets it. So you guys know that's not very good because I actually win trophies. So today, first day of preseason, social media digging day. Okay, we're going to find any bad stuff he's put on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, any of that sort of stuff. Going to dig his past posts, anything that's dodgy, just spread it like wildfire because we don't want him. I mean, I don't want him, but you guys shouldn't want him either because then you're going to lose. So, social media digging day. Let's just get him out of the race for takeover and then extended preseason. Let's go, guys. Social media day. Come on.
Party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 86 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and with Cashmere Technical. And coming up today, we're going to start 2033, which hopefully is going to be quite a big season of this save, considering I'm pretty sure we're going to be making our way to a first FIFA Club World Cup. We'll start things off with a transfer update and also get stuck into the group stages of the OFC Champions League. So we'll be looking forward to that coming up in today's episode. Then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But yesterday, as you can see on screen, we did play the National League Grand Final and actually won it very comfortably over Auckland City. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Also had stuff in that like the end of season review, and also there's a stadium getting built which is named after me, which is very nice indeed. But before we get stuck in to the transfers that we have made, you can see one down the bottom right corner, a new hot prospect who is a striker. There has been some takeover stuff happening off the back of that episode yesterday. As you can see, back here in late January, we were in the process of a board takeover. It was slightly concerning for a little while though, because there are a couple of consortiums who were thinking about the takeover, and one was thinking about naming a new manager if they were to complete their takeovers. That was a bit of a worry at this stage here in late January, but going forward, and thankfully that takeover from the person who was thinking about sacking us in Ricky Pinnock, that dropped out of the running, which is very good news. Not too sure if the fans would like that too much, considering these days I am a club legend. We'll just go and find the history, not the personnel. There it is there, me and Nathan Walker somehow, even though he's not starting for us these days. We are legends. It's probably not a good idea to sack a legend is one of the first things you do if you do take over a club. But that was as far as we got. No takeovers have happened just yet, but we are still in the process of one taking place, which does mean for the last couple of months we have been under a transfer embargo. So it does mean we only got our transfer business done early going into this new season, but thankfully that was the case. We'll have a look at what we have done. And we'll start off with a couple of players here that we did let go in terms of releasing them, both Callum Elliott and Taylor Tamas, and former players that we did have up at AFC Auckland. They were sitting in the B team and really weren't up to the quality of the rest of the squad these days, especially considering they were both actually being paid a wage. They've both departed. Callum Elliott, we'll see if he's found a club. Not quite yet, although he is retiring actually quite soon, so that means one less option at right back for us in the All Whites. We'll be able to say soon that's at the end of December. And also Taylor Tamer, he's departed and is still looking for a club. So two former AFC Auckland players no longer here at Cashmere Technical. But going over the transfers that we have actually made, we just sort this out here by order, because obviously some of these are still from last season, considering that's how things work with the OFC Champions League starting before the new season does officially tick over. We've brought in 5 players who have come in, and that's to replace some of the players who we have gotten rid of. As you can see, 6 departures, a couple of those we did hint in yesterday's episode. A couple of right backs have gone in. Louis Enrique on a free back to Brazil in Bragantino. A bit frustrating that one, because that one went through without me getting an inbox item to realise that was going to be the case. And also on the 2nd of January, we lost David Pedrovisi to Sassuolo, our starting right back from last season. So it did mean I had to bring in at least one right back going into this new season. I felt like that actually didn't quite happen, but other players who did leave João Teixeira to Gil Vicente, Luis Rodriguez went to Delfin, who are over, I would say, in Ecuador. Indeed, that is the case. Also got rid of Mateus, seeing as these days he's not under 20. And we'd actually sell a player in Matty Lowe. This one was a bit unexpected. Our star striker here from last season, a bid came in for him from one of the other A-League clubs, not Sydney United. It was for around about £25,000. He was a bit frustrated that we turned down bids below that from English clubs, and then agreed a fee of £130,000 would be enough. But unfortunately, Sydney United did come in with a bid like that as well, I think, as the North Queensland Fury. He decided to go to Sydney United. So unfortunately, Matty Lowe was only here for the one season, but to be fair, that's quite a big transfer for us considering the fees we've got for other players so far since we come here to Cashmere Technical. So these days he's doing a decent job over there in the A-League, of course, seeing as he can't go to AFC Auckland in the A-League because they're down in the second division. So Matty Lowe was the only player that we did sell for some money. It does mean quite a bit of wage budget did get freed up to spend on the left-hand side, and also we could spend a little bit on one player, albeit only £2,300 for the players who we have bought in. First up is a youngster, Oliver Johnson, a young New Zealand striker. He actually came for our youth intake and we signed him a bit late. That's the reason that one's popped up. Also Nathan Burgess, I'm pretty sure is the same case. Indeed, it is our youth intake last season. Not too bad, but the highest potential players did have 2.5-star potential. So again, it's a bit bad. Hopefully, we might be able to improve our youth recruitment if we do get a takeover of the players that we have signed for the first team. You saw one before, Juan Carlos Castro, hot prospect striker. That is a big one considering that we lost Matty Lowe, and he's a bit better than Mohamed El Ghazali, and he fills one of those under-20 spots, does the Ecuadorian who has played for that country at under-20 level. You can see that finishing really good. Also the composure not too far away from being yellow, so I think he could be quite a good prospect for us here at Cashmere Technical and should be starting the big games for us this season over Mohamed El Ghazali. So that was the first big transfer that we did on a free, formerly of Independiente del Valle. So that was the first one we did. Only 2 more in regards to the first team, but again, they were quite big under 20 signings just to bolster that area of the squad, seeing as the likes of Kevin Mina and Jamie Young, who were playing for us last season, are now 20 years old. So we did need to bolster up that under 20 side just a little bit. Tio Domilo, we signed on a free from Villanova over in Brazil, the nation he's from, and he is a fairly promising centre-back come midfielder. I'm starting him as a centre-back this season, extra over Georgios Victoros as the ball-playing defender, because he's a bit better, and he's 1.96 metres tall. Jumping reach not quite as good as Georgios, but that extra height does mean he should still be pretty threatening from set piece, and only 18 years old does mean we can get a couple of years out of him as one of our under-20 starters. So that looked like a good deal for the former Villanova man. And the other sign that we made, under-20 player, this was for a fee of £2,300 from Western Sydney, Leon Sutton as a backup left back, because that was an area we were quite weak in, having let go of Mateus. Good backup there to Xavier Smith, who does fill one of those under-20 spots. Only played a couple of games for the academy over there in Western Sydney. A little bit of potential, and another player at 18 years old who we should be able to get at least a couple of years out of before we can decide if we keep him round, if his potential has improved or not. So those are the signings that we have made. Obviously not too many with that transfer embargo kicking in. Did kind of ruin my plans to strengthen a bit more at right back, and also despite the fact we've still got quite a bit of wage left over as well as transfer budget, couldn't offer that much of the wage budget to some players who would have been upgrades at right back. Was only able to offer around 3k max wage per week, so that was a bit frustrating. Did mean we had to deal with what we've already got here at the club in terms of right backs. So this is what we're going with going into the start of this new season. We've got Josh Hawkins still in goal, some changes at the back. On the right-hand side, Mansour Dusso, we signed about halfway through last season. He's under 20, so he'll step in as the first choice right back. Quite a bit of potential. Hopefully he can fill that, and down the line could be a decent option for the all-white squad if we can keep him around. So Mansour Dusso is the new first choice right back, and coming in as a backup, Ahmed Al-Khatani, who spent a little bit of time on the bench last season with his versatility. He's a decent option out of Saudi Arabia who can cover all of those three positions across the back, but right back he is more natural at. So it does mean we were actually able to get by on right backs with the players that we did have here, which is rather lucky because I definitely was planning on signing someone. Also, as I mentioned, Teo DeMilo, he comes in over Georgios Victoros. Also, in terms of a backup to Ollie McGoldrick, Usmana Kanate steps up from our under-19s, 20 years old Ivorian, and with decent current ability and potential. Another tall lad with quite good jumping reach. So a couple of good youngsters from overseas within the squad here at Cashmere Technical. Xavier Smith and McGoldrick keep hold of that left-hand side defence and still got the midfield of Louis Evans and Sam Clark. Sam Clark, still 19 years old, so does count as one of our under-20 players. Going forward, Talik Na, Lorenzo Janssen and Kevin Mina, they keep their spots. Obviously, Kevin Mina was superb for us last season with around about 30 goals. No chance we were getting rid of him, albeit Tariq Na these days, I believe, is over 20 years old. Indeed, that is the case. That doesn't count as one of those under 20 spots. That was one of the reasons that getting in Juan Carlos Castro for Manny Lowe did work out quite well, and he goes up top. So those are the changes that we have made, and a few new faces also on the bench. But to be fair, that does look relatively similar to last season. And just checking down below, a couple of call-ups from the under-20s and the B team for the Champions League. Emmanuel Mohammed as a backup goalkeeper to both Anderson and Hawkins, an American at only 18 years old, with a bit of potential, albeit being third choice. Probably won't see too much of him. And coming up from the under-20s, Sadio Diabate, another right back who also can play central attacking midfield. So that bit of an interesting dual position player there from Mali. And also Henrik Fries, very promising left winger, albeit that's quite a strong area of our squad out of Denmark. 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. I'm hoping we can give him some minutes and he might be decent for us in the future if a big club does come knocking for someone like Kevin Mina. So those are the squad changes going into this new season. And you might notice we're not starting our Champions League, at least on camera, until the 22nd of February. Finally, we've got drawn in a group which is not Group A or B. Auckland City ended up in Group B, which we'll reveal the results of shortly. But first up, Group A has been completed. These got completed the week before we started ours, which was very nice. Did mean we actually got a 2-week pre-season before this tournament for once, so our players are actually proper fit for it. But Kosa topped the group there from the Solomon Islands, and Vaivasi Tai will also make their way through the knockouts out of Sama, Horizon Pafo, and Blue Kummels. They have been knocked out. Now, Group B, Auckland City, big upset here because they lost to Tafia on the final match day after good wins over AS Venus and Nadi, which is a bit inexcusable considering that would have been the last game of that week. They should have had their match fitness up by then. Can't really complain too much by the third game about being caught short off the back of having less of a preseason. So it definitely has affected one of the AI teams there in Auckland City. They got beaten 3-2 by Tafia. So Tafia topped the group, even though their goal differential not nearly as good. But it does mean that we could play Auckland City as soon as tomorrow in the quarterfinals if we do top our group. So that could actually work kind of against us, but also in our favour, considering I think I like playing the New Zealand team over 2 legs, less chance of them knocking us out than in just a one-off final, considering we are the red-hot favourites for this competition. But Auckland City, with a shocker there, does mean we could play them as soon as the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We're in Group C. As you can see, I've actually already played the first game of this pool, and that's because we took on Bar, who we played last year, the Black Sheep, out of Fiji, and we pumped them 8-1 Castro with 4 goals on debut. Also goals there to Walker Shusha, Teo DeMelo, and Janssen. So a very impressive win to Papa Malelinga out of the Cook Islands. Just got that name right, thankfully, but they won the other game on that first match day against the team that we are about to play in AS Puree out of Tahiti. But if we win this one, you'd imagine with that goal differential, we'll be pretty safely through to the knockouts, and then we can go forward and see the draws for the quarters and the semis, and exactly when we could get Auckland City if we somehow avoid them until the final, or if we might get them as soon as the quarterfinals. And a quick look at Group D. These guys also played the first match day. Rao Kakamora, they have beaten ABM Galaxy out of Vanuatu, a couple of new teams in the Champions League this season, I am noticing, and it was a draw between AS Quinono Sports and Simbu FC. So that's what's happened so far in the Champions League. As I said, big upset there with Auckland City not winning their group. But hopefully that might mean we can knock them out early, go on and win the competition, and absolutely make sure we're going to a Club World Cup this year, because still not sure what year counts in game. I think it's last year, but you never know with Football Manager. They might screw us over, because that would be very typical, having waited about 5 years since I've come to Cashmere Technical to head to a Club World Cup. But as I said, going to play our second game here of the group stage of the Champions League, which is against AS Pare, who lost narrowly to Papa Maralenga, but it might mean they are the weakest team in the group out of Tahiti. 1-star reputation, but to be fair, not doing too well last season. Looks like they came 4 second. That's a bit interesting how that does work. You'd imagine they would have been the champions of Tahiti, but so far this season, they're doing a very, very average job by the look of it. They sit in third, having lost quite a few games, including that first one of the Champions League of late. So they come to this one in not the best form, only predicted to finish 9th this season over in Tahiti. This should be a team that we can do a bit of a number on, especially because for this game, as you saw before, we are going with our best 11 going in to this new season. That first game did rotate a little bit with some players still being tied from the pre-season. We did play 4 games against the CTFC Turtles. Actually took on the Phoenix in one, lost 4-2. They're top of the A-League, definitely the best team in New Zealand. Unfortunately, couldn't quite beat them, which is a bit concerning with that Club World Cup hopefully coming up later this season, but then went on and beat FC 2011 and Western AFC before that first win in the Champions League over the Black Sheep out of Bar in Fiji. But hopefully another win here will secure us our path through to the knockouts and should put us in a very strong position to finish top of our group as we take on AS Pare from the GMP. And a quick look at the team sheets here for the second Champions League group stage game from the GMP, and also in case there's any party people from Pare looking for their team, they're going with a 4-2-3-1. You saw our team before. That's our best 11 going into 2033. A good win here should see us go through top of this group. And as you'd expect, it didn't take long for the first highlight of this game, and it is now a favour of far post corner. They're looking for TAKEOVER. They get saved by their goalkeeper, and I think their Castro it was who came up with a chance from the rebound. Unfortunately, unlike that first game, can't quite bundle that one home. But now, off the back of that, there is a highlight. We're going to try and do something here down our right-hand side. Dosso with a shot, but unfortunately, that one does get blocked. So unfortunately, my insulin pump's beeping. Going to disappear soon and eat something sugary. We'll see if we score from this highlight. Good chance there for Tariq Nah. But again, really good save that from the goalkeeper for the opposition in Pare, who've got off to a decent start here, at least in terms of their defence. The corner doesn't quite find someone. Clark on the volley, unfortunately puts that one high and wide. 0-0 at the 10-minute mark. And only a few minutes off the back of that previous highlight, also a mid-game ice cream break for the manager. Now we're on the attack here again, as you'd imagine. Really just going to make sure we win this game and hopefully go top of this group. But do need to make sure now, considering what did happen to Auckland City, because that was a big surprise. As I said, that could set up a quarter-final against them if the draw works in that way, and it could do, because Kevin Mina, apparently his 30th goal of the season now, even though it says 31 on screen, but a ball floated in their far post, I think that was from our new right back in Dossel. I say new right back from halfway through last season. That ended up being quite a good purchase considering the transfer embargo, but finally go 1-0 up. And we've waited quite a while before the next highlight in this game. Was expecting the floodgates to open a bit more off the back of that opening goal, but now just shy of the half-hour mark, a goal kick there to the opposition, but thankfully we'll win it eventually, and Nah starts to make his way down the right-hand side. He almost goes down there, thankfully he doesn't, but then loses the ball, so maybe he should. They try and clear that one there. Good footing, not too sure who that was from. It goes back to McGoldrick now, and we can build again here from the halfway line, still playing with a higher defensive line, so should really be camped inside the opposition half. And most games we play here at Cashmere Technical, especially against teams in this group stage of the Champions League. Good chance there for Janssen, but unfortunately tries to hit that one across the face of goal past Chanu. So far is having a pretty good game, and unfortunately doesn't quite hit the target. Probably should look to beat him there at the near post, but shortly off the back of that, we're on the attack yet again. Dosu with a shot, but unfortunately that's well high and wide. Still only 1-0 up, just past the half-hour mark. And rather disappointingly, we might only be up here 1-0 going into half-time, albeit, as I say, they're a very late corner here in our favour, about halfway through the 2 minutes of added time. Lorenzo Janssen on an orange injury, floats that one far post for Teo DeMelo, but again, can't quite put that one past the goalkeeper, comes off the woodwork, might have had some help from the hands there of the goalie, who's had a pretty good first half. That XG is very high, but somehow we're only 1-0 in front. Might be timing to ring the changes. Just wake these boys up to make sure they do go on and win and don't do an Auckland City in the group stage. So we're going to make some changes here. Kanade can come on from a goal trick. Also Sutton for Smith on a yellow card. We'll take off Janssen with that orange injury for Jamie Young, and Al Ghazali for Castro not quite going as well as he did in that first game against the Black Sheep of Bar, but that was a pretty average first half. We'll tell the guys going well, because stats-wise we are, but they definitely can do better and hopefully score a few more goals in the second half to put this one to bed, as we're only 1-0 in front. And hopefully the halftime talks worked here, because an early highlight in our favour again. It is a corner. Mina will take this one short, going there for Torik. Now back there to Mina. Tight angle, but he'll take on the shot. And Kevin Mina carrying us so far in this game. He'll pick up his second goal. He's on a hat-trick, and thankfully there's a cushion goal finally here at the GMP to make it 2-0. And hopefully that will take us a long way towards topping this group, provided that we win our last game, albeit it might depend on how Bar get on against Tupapa in the game that is off the back of this one on the second match day. But that is a goal to finally make it 2-0 thanks to Kevin Mina on a hat-trick, albeit off the back of that there is a throw-in to the opposition in AS Parade. They pump that one deep, but Dosu controls it one, plays it across to Teo Demiro, who, to be fair, had some chances to score in that first half. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get it done, but now waiting here to play out from that Kanate, who came on at half-time. He did quite well alongside Teo Demiro in that first game that we did play. So a bit of a fright there for the old guard in terms of Victoros and McGoldrick, because these two do look quite decent, but we're on the attack here. Nice ball there for Jamie Young, but unfortunately, again, their goalkeeper comes up with a very good save. So this game could definitely have been put to bed already, but just not quite putting the shots on target as much as we should be. Young, he goes down, but no penalty. Dosu will tidy things up. Still only 2-0, 10 minutes into the second half. And in fact, very short off the back of that previous highlight, now a free kick in our favour, going far post there from Al Ghazali, and Kevin Mina will pick up a hat-trick. It's the Kevin Mina show, which of course has been the case so far this season, considering technically haven't quite gone over into the new one, but Kevin Mina will pick up a hat-trick. That one through his head, and finally we beat Chan yet again there, putting that one across the face of goal and into that bottom left corner. And hopefully that's the goal that puts this one to bed at 3-0, as the Pele do make a sub. But a highlight here from the restart, so we'll see what does happen if someone else can actually score a goal for us in this game, or if it's just the Kevin Mina show. They pump one deep there, no one home. Kanade can tidy things up. Interesting ball, Mina, bit of a loose touch, so some poor work from him there, really, for the first time in this game, albeit off the back of that, good work there from Jamie Young, and we do win the ball back. Evans will pick out Clark. He goes back there to young Leon Sutton, the former Western Sydney Wanderers man, the first player who spent money on in the save for quite a while. It goes for there to Young, down our left-hand side. Evans back out there to Clark, and Sutton makes his way forward. Let's see what he decides to do here. The young 18-year-old New Zealander floats this one far post, looking for Tariq. Pretty similar to the previous goal we scored, but that time it's our right winger, not quite relying as much on Kevin Mina, but that should put this game to bed 4-0. Just shy of the arm out. We kept the ball there for a fair while after Pele just tried to hoof it deep, which so far hasn't been working, and thankfully a bit more clinical in the second half, and we make it 4-0.
Yeah.
Albeit only a few minutes off the back of that, might be a bit of a concern for us here, because of course Lorenzo Janssen went off at half-time with an orange injury. Now Jamie Young, our backup central attacking midfielder, a red one. He'll be forced from the field with our final sub. Ahmed Shusha looks like the only sensible option on the bench that does need some game time, so he can come on in central attacking midfield for this last half hour. Still 4-0 in front, but might be coming a bit of a cost. And we just made way into the last 10 minutes of this game. Things have certainly slowed down off the back of that injury to Jamie Young. A late corner for us here, but unfortunately can't get that one past Chan. We'll see if this highlight does continue. Have just gone attacking for these last 10 minutes to see if we can put some more goals past that opposition here, just to make sure that goal differential wise we should finish on top of our group, even if we do slip up on that final match day. But you'd hope we wouldn't do that doing Auckland City, because they weren't very good last season. It does look like that might have carried over into 2033, but we get the ball out here to Sutton. Now pick up Mina, who's looking for a fourth, and that is a great finish from Kevin Mina. He does a river dance. Still not too sure if that's too applicable with no Garbin Coughlin down here at Cashmere Technical these days. We've gone well past him in this save, but Mina is having a standout performance, much like Castro against the Black Sheep of Bar on the first match day. That makes it 5-0 with only 8 minutes left. And in fact, yet again, we get a highlight here from the restart, so we'll see if the opposition can actually try and get their way back into this game. I say back into this game, the consolation goal, or if we're going to make the scoreline look a bit more flattering than it actually has been. It's been a bit of a scrappy performance. Chance there for Na, and again, Chung comes up with a good save. He's actually looked quite good in goal for the opposition here, despite the fact we've been well on the front, but we have praised here. We'll see if this corner does take place. Mina puts this one far post, but Chan will come out and claim it. And I dare say that might be the highlight over. In fact, it continues, then it stops. We'll see what else happens here in these last couple of minutes. Plus, we've got 2 of added time. To be fair, Pele have not done anything on attacks, 2 shots, none on target. Did feel like that was a game though that we could have won it by a bit more, especially because our stats there actually better than that 8-1 win that we picked up over Bar, and especially because we started that game with a first choice 11, but thankfully Kevin Mina does carry us somewhat, and also a goal there to Tulikna, and we pick up a 5-0 win. We'll see what that does to the group, albeit I think Bar take on the other team in this group who did beat Pere on the first match day after we kicked this one off, and indeed that is the case. But that goal differential and the points table does suggest we should be topping the group. We'll come back shortly and show you guys the result from our final game in the group. Just make sure we are on top going into the draw for the quarters and the semis, which are very interesting now with that Auckland City situation. And we are back ready for the draw for both the quarter and the semi of the OFC Champions League. We are going through as a top qualifier off the back of winning our last game 7-0 at GMP over to Papa Maralinga. Bit surprising that one was a bit more comfortable than that game against AS Pere, which we did show you guys on camera. But as you can see, first half absolutely destroyed these guys. A double to both Mina and Al Ghazali. Shusha and Victoros also popped up with goals, and Tolikna got the lone one in the second half. So a very comprehensive win for us there. So in the end, we won all our games pretty comfortably. Annoyingly, Ahmed Shusha got injured on the hour mark. So a real issue for us now in central attacking midfield. We'll see when the quarterfinals are and who we're playing to see how serious that might be. But in terms of our group, we go through very comfortably, and the Black Sheep of Bar, they do go through. You get no idea if that's their real nickname, but it should be, and they go through having picked up 4 points because they beat Papa Maralinga 4-1 on that match day, where we beat AS Pere before they picked up a draw against AS Pere. So some interesting results. And behind us in that group, but we absolutely destroyed the group with 9 points. Auckland City now one of our possible opponents in the quarterfinals. Group D, that was won by Raul Kakamora and ABM Galaxy. They also go through. And to be fair, the other 2 teams from that group did not get up too much at all. So we could play ABM Galaxy from Vanuatu, Auckland City, or Vaivasi Tai from Samoa in the quarterfinals of this OFC Champions League. If we get Auckland City, that might make the semi and the final a little bit anticlimactic, but it also could get it out of the way nice and early, and it should just make sure that we'll definitely have a Club World Cup to look forward to here in 2033. As I said, I'm pretty sure by winning it last year, we are going, but FM can be funny sometimes. It might not work like it did 4 years ago when Western Suburbs won it in 2028 and did go to that 2029 FIFA Club World Cup. But here's the draw for the quarterfinals. As I said, we will get one of Auckland City, ABM Galaxy, or Vaivase Tai. I don't think we can get Bar having been in the same group as us. First out of the hat, it is Cossa. They will take on ABM Galaxy, so that's not a good start if we want to wait to play Auckland City until at least the semi-finals. Next up, Raul Kakamora, so a couple there of Solomon Island teams that did top their group. They will take on Bar, which means we're going to play one of Auckland City or Vaivasa Tai from Samoa. Let's see who it is. Of course, it's Auckland City. They might be doing us dirty here by saving themselves up for the quarterfinals, but that is a massive All-New Zealand clash very early in the competition. It does mean Tawhia, they will take on Vaivase Tai, but tomorrow you could almost call it a final at this early stage of the Champions League. We'll take on Auckland City over 2 legs. If we win that, we should really go on and win the tournament. If we don't, we could be in trouble, especially with some takeover stuff about to go through, I think, and the board probably expect us to do a lot better than the quarterfinals of the Champions League. And going forward now, look at the draw for the semi, which to be fair, I don't think it's too important really. Go past Auckland City, we should be fine, but we'll take on the winner of the tie between Raul Kakamora or Bas. We could take on the Black Sheep again, or take on one of the strong teams there from the Solomon Islands. But big quarterfinal which will be coming up in tomorrow's episode as we take on Auckland City. But you'd imagine we should be favourites to beat them off the back of what we did against them last season, beating them relatively comfortably each time that we did play them, and also the fact that they lost to Tawhia in the group stage. That's not too good a reflection on how they are doing currently up there in the Big Smoke. And just as I was making my way to the next competitive game while I was still sitting here in front of the camera, our takeover has gone through here at Cashmere Technical, so a good way to end things for today's episode. And Auckland-based investor Alex Campbell has completed the takeover, which is interesting. Hopefully he's not an inside man there from Auckland City trying to ruin us, but it doesn't look like that's the case, because apparently they've pumped in some good money, £1.1 million. We might do something with that shortly. Club Vision, that all looks pretty similar, apart from the fact that they've added in, they want us to maintain the club status as both the most reputable team in New Zealand and Oceania, but the rest of it does look pretty good, apart from the fact they also actually want us these days to reach the National League Grand Final and win the Southern League previously. That part was a bit broken in avoiding relegation from the Southern League, but winning the National League, so that makes a bit more sense now. They have lifted the transfer embargo, which is quite good, albeit not too sure how much use that is now that we've registered players for the Champions League, and we've got extra transfer budget funds, albeit I don't think it's that much. It's £130,000, of course, that's the amount we got for Matty Lowe, apparently £45,000 that has been moved up by. Just have a look at that, and I think they've taken that money out of the previous wage budget, which was around about £13,000 a week, so I don't think they've actually pumped too much more into it. They might just be lying because they've adjusted the budget. But our takeover has gone through here at Cashmere Technical. We can do some more transfers if we want to, albeit, as I said, probably going to hold off until after the Champions League, because not much point doing that at the moment. What we might do before we wrap up today is try and improve the training facilities, stuff like the youth facilities, and also youth recruitment. Let's try and make the most here of this takeover that has gone through a new chairperson. Hopefully they might be willing to spend the cash that they have brought to the club. That's definitely repaired the financial damage. But I think that will do it for today's episode, breezing our way through the group stage of the Champions League. But it does mean we're taking on Auckland City in the quarterfinals tomorrow. If you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. As I said, tomorrow we'll come back and take on Auckland City in the Champions League quarterfinals. Before then, we're going to take them on in only a week or so's time in the Charity Cup, which for some reason they're hosting, even though we beat them in a Chatham Cup semi-final and the National League final. Why aren't we hosting that game? But we've got the first league at home in the Champions League quarters before we play them up at the RTA off the back of our first game in the National League. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.